Good afternoon, guys. Thank you very much for all bringing your amazing engines. As members of the public, you may not appreciate how much work goes into these things. It takes just 2, 3. Century has the distinction of being the oldest barrel traction engine in existence. She's owned by our host here this weekend, Richard Parrott, and she was built in 1877, and she is towing an 1880 barrel crushing tackle. Extremely rare, a rare sight. This is a complete Victorian crushing outfit. This is what Century did when she was working at the turn of the last century. She travelled from farm to farm, towing the crushing tackle to separate the wheat from the grain on all the farms. Angie is walking in front of Century with her red flag. This is to commemorate the Red Flag Act, which was brought in the early days of self-moving steam engines. The government of the day decreed that an engine must be limited to 2 miles an hour and must be preceded by a man carrying a red flag. We have a lady carrying a red flag today to warn. Nobody wants to muck around with a red flag man walking in front. So fortunately the Red Flag Act was subsequently repealed, and the steam engine was allowed to first forth onto the public highway. Not that it was plain sailing. A lot of town councils took great exception to these heavy machines, put weight limits on all the bridges, increased all the tolls, summoned the engine drivers endlessly for emitting too much coal, smoke, emitting sparks, damaging bridges, damaging culverts. You think of it, some traction engine manufacturer over the years would have been fined for it. So Century's now coming up. Despite the fact we actually moved the arena out of a sandpit purely for Matt's benefit. It's believed Century was actually built as a chain drive engine, and which was the earliest form of self-moving engine after the portable engine. It was the portable engine.
Well, number 38 going towards the commentary box now. That's the bottle engine Little Dorothy, built in 1921, owned and driven by John Johnson of Lancashire. As this engine last came to Weeting for the gold medal tractor gathering in 1984. And lovely to see it back. A beautiful example of the gold medal tractor. Now Mark, just tell us a little about the gold medal tractors.
Oh, thank you very much. So lots of manufacturers built the steam tractor, and not an agricultural machine, but a light haulage engine in fact. And in 1903 all the manufacturers entered their tractors into some trials to establish which was the best, and Burrell's got the gold medal, and of course there's nothing new in marketing, so they are thereafter called their tractors the gold medal tractor. This is followed by an interesting engine. This is Mr. Wilkinson's Bowden, built in the 1930s this one, and built for direct ploughing. So you've seen the ploughing engines that work down in the bottom field. This was Fone's attempt to actually allow direct ploughing. Originally it was fitted with steel wheels, installed by John Saul down in Cornwall. Unfortunately there was this, and Garrett's produced the Suffolk Punch as another attempt to direct plough with steam, but there were too many Porson tractors around by the 30s, so the idea never caught on. Nevertheless, a very interesting engine and lovely to see it here at Weeting.
Well, the first of our showman's engines here this afternoon. It's a lovely Fowler showman's engine called Rosemary, built in 1924. This one was converted from a roller, but a particularly fine conversion, as we said. The engine celebrated its 100th birthday. It's owned by the Bush family of Swanton Abbott. And I believe this one's still for sale.
Yes, I understand this engine is for sale, so do have a word with Steve, the owner. Always presented in immaculate condition, this one. He's up bright and early cleaning his grass. He'll be glad at Sunday, he won't have to clean it tomorrow. But there we are, and that's Rosemary. We seem to have a bit of feedback, we need someone to flick a switch somewhere.
Number 97 with us now, that lovely little Locomobile G, built in 1902.
Built for Steve Castle in Chatham in Kent for storing and haulage of wood, and she's actually built with barrel show finished with half gilt. Owned for many years by the late Steve Neville, a regular here at Weeting, parked outside the beer tent during those years. It's now owned by Lord Irving Laidlaw and driven by Jeff Scott Coover, who drove her here under her own steam.
Number 6 coming towards me now, the Fowler Monty, built in 1900, was new in 1900 for the Poles Estate near Ware in Hertfordshire. Later worked in the Fairford area of Gloucestershire until 1946 for Briggs and Rickard. Owned by Simon Blaker near Leeds in Suffolk.
So another one that's been to Weeting several times, and fitted with a solid flywheel, that one. Say it's a highly spec agricultural engine or a lower spec road engine. The customer could specify whatever they wanted when they bought an engine, really. And that engine's also sprung on the rear end. And this is followed by Sir Douglas. We've got two Sir Douglases here this weekend, and a little touch of Googling. We don't know if it was Douglas Haig they were named after, or another Sir Douglas, but anyway. This one started life as a roller, and has been a tractor now for several years, and is based in Spalding. Now, you remember about this one?
Moonlight Magic.
No. Well, you can point at that all you want, mate. It's not that roller.
Not that one, it's the other one, isn't it?
So this roller is not Moonlight Magic or Moonlight Magic, because it's the other one. Number 92, Trevor Dawson roller. This is Russell and Hornsby compound roller, owned by Mr. Simon Vickery. And most manufacturers built a roller as part of their offering, but it was Aveling who really cornered the market, because Aveling built more rollers than all the other manufacturers put together. And all the Avelings have a horse on the front. I'll tell you why later. There's Pete Copeland's Marshall, the Hermit, and Neil Ayres is driving this one today. Yeah, his is getting better. That's all right for some. But he's been in the ring every day on a different engine. I've been in the ring every day on the same plastic chair. Another Aveling roller, this one, 8-ton roller, known as Chow Fella, formerly known as White Heather and owned by the late Billy Bird. And this is followed by an interesting old engine. This is number 27, which is a Powell. There are only 7 Powell traction engines left. So we've seen centuries, that's where the story starts. Mr. Powell was a draftsman for Burrells in Thetford, and then he went off to build his own engine. And he came up with a design in the 1800s, the 1870s, 1880s, that he liked so much that he then didn't alter for engine engine, this one, known as the Pride of Monudon, an engine fitted with a round axle, which was a tactic that Burrells went in for a short time among their production run. This one's owned by the Vickery family. They carried out a restoration and repaint over lockdown. Classic line for the Burrell thrashing engine there. Interestingly, if you look at this engine, look inside the back wheel as it comes round, you can see the brake, those wooden blocks around that final drive wheel there, that is actually the hand brake. Most of these engines, if they have a brake at all, that's all they have. So that plus the ability to reverse the engine so you can use the steam to stop the engine running away.
Well, coming towards us at the comedy point is number 13 in the new programme, the Russell and Foster engine, Rusty, built in 1908, owned by the Wild family of Great Melton. Produced in Mr. Richard of Bale in Norfolk at a cost of £520, then owned by William Warner of Gresham Hall. Last day of commercial working thrashing at Lambert Brothers of North Elmham on the 26th of May 1949, and was brought from the Evans Scrapyard in Spring, Hertfordshire, by Late Roger Wild in 1966. The engine appeared at the Weeting Rally in 1968.
So it's lovely to see Rusty out and about on Weeting Rally Field after all these years still supporting the event. There might be a bit sad.
Well, one of our rollers making its way towards the comedy point now, number 89 in your programme. The Fire Eraser, built in 1925. Originally supplied to West Jackson & Sons, Whiston Crew, recently purchased by current owner David Gilbert. I watched this one on Facebook being purchased. I want David's smile as well, which is very nice to see. Great to see him in the arena with his own engine.
Yes, lovely to see he's made his way up the slippery slope to a Fowler roller. That'll be a showman this time next year. He can't hear? Oh, good. Services the oil boilers of half the board housewives in Essex. This is followed by the Zettelbauer, Mr. Perrins' engine, this one. So an interesting engine. All the other engines we've got in the arena are English manufactured. This was built in Germany. You can see similarities if you look around the roller between the English manufacturers, Avelings and Fowlers and so on. It's an ongoing project, and that's known as welding.
Well, we are in Burrell County as the guest at the moment. Burrell's, of course, manufactured in Thetford, and that's the home of the Charles Burrell Museum. And we have one of their engines coming towards us now. They're lovely 1902 General Purpose Agricultural engine called Aggie. The engine was originally owned by J.C. Goddard and spent its whole working life in Shipton in Norfolk. Sold to Roy Pratt in 1965 for preservation, and in 1997 Lottery Grant secured the engine for display at the Charles Burrell Museum in Bedford.
You'll run out of steam with Matt up there. So that's Roy Pratt's old engine, and so is Mr. Green's grandson. So that's another nice little connection. This is honoured by Queen Mary, another engine from the Burrell Museum. This one worked for the famous amusement taking Danson and Ronan in the southwest of England. She then passed to Florence Simmons. In preservation, she was with Viv Kirk, and he bequeathed the engine to the Burrell Museum, which I do recommend as a good day out in Thetford. I've been asked to mention the closing day of the museum this year is the 26th of October, and also that Thetford is open the first weekend in August, the 3rd and 4th, and that includes the Burrell Museum, and they will have engines in steam outside the museum. So nice day out in Thetford, driven today by Howard Smallbone again. And that's an engine that's reserved more or less in working condition. This Kirk, when he owned it, didn't believe in Brasso overall.
David Gallagher in 1976.
So an engine that's arguably one of the first purchased for preservation in East Anglia. And we've got another one joining us in the arena in a short while that was purchased the same year. Ollie brought that engine out of Harris's Scrapyard in Saffron Walls. It was the only engine to leave that yard in one piece. And he kept it in the garden at home and used it to plough the garden with a horse track. This is composted Gordon, another one of our single tank compound barrels here at Weeting this weekend. Been owned by, since 2018 by the Easton family. and driven today by Ben Easton, steered by Mr. Ben Tellett. He's an interloper from Cheshire. I don't know what he thinks he's doing in East Anglia. He's probably sizing up the fair. He probably wants to come and pinch our spot next year with his team gallopers. She was built for an owner in Surrey anyway. They worked for the Lug family in Billinghurst. Damaged in a bomb strike in the Second World War since Ben stood up. John Bush bought the engine but sadly never got to see her restored. Been owned by Ben and family since 2018. Happy guests, giving them a ride around the arena. It reminds me of early pictures of engines. Back when that was a big treat, they'd have a Sunday school outing and they'd load all the great and good and the children of the parish onto a couple of trailers behind the steam engine and take them for a day out. So there we are, that is Princess Royal.
Number 84 coming towards us now from our Volga section. It's the Bull Engine Jeanette, built in 1912, a 12-ton single crank compound road roller. It undergone major restoration by current owner Roger Adams. It's won the best roller in the show here in 2019. And I know it's a bit touch and go whether Jeanette will be ready for the rally, but it's great to keep it running.
Yes, Jeanette is here and mostly in one piece. The last time I went on this engine we drove it to Hopwold and only two things fell off. But that engine worked for Isaac Ball, and most of his engines feature a full-length cab and a big tool case in the back of the cab. But it's not on that one at the moment. It's finished but not quite. Those are followed by the Highlander, the Higgins family's very shiny Fowler. This one works in Scotland, and Scottish drivers were very prone to covering their engines in brass and shiny bits. As you can see here, they've been a regular at Weeting and their other local rallies for very many years, driven today by Kevin Higgins. That's followed by Mr. Pratt's Aveling, 10-ton version this one, an engine that worked for Dales and Whittlesey for part of its working career. And as I said, you'll run out of steam as well. He's going to go round the ring on every power engine. No, it's all right because Will knows what he's doing, you see. He's not just the apprentice. He's put coal on the fire before he's come in the ring. But they were a compact and powerful engine for working on the small roads of Devon. And that engine, if it's seen at a rally, normally it's seen on a belt driving a stone crusher or some other piece of equipment. Next we've got the muddler. The muddler is a Ruston, as all good engines are. And as all good engines are, it's being supervised by its owner who's riding in the coal. Pretending to be a 5-year-old at Weeting again, when he used to ride round the ring in the trailer behind his parents' miniature. I have photographic evidence. Built for Uriah Spratt, this engine. She was expected to be suitable for a little haulage. Hence she's fitted with belly tanks and sprung on the rear axle. Spent her working life in Lincolnshire. Many years in preservation with Peter Wright, and he travelled miles by road with this engine. And it's now owned by Thomas Bain from Barney in Lincolnshire.
Well, coming towards me now, the
Use that to the power of steam to draw up water from a roadside stream or ditch, but never ever the parish force trough to fill your water tanks up on your journey. That one's owned by Andy and Nicky Caldo, and an engine that came here under its own steam from Solon.
Bull Engine John O'Dorm, heading to the commentary box. Built in 1927. It spent its working life in Norwich and Wyndham, then went to Essex and Cambridge, before the Newton family of Hungerford bought it in 1971. Now on holiday in Norfolk and owned by the Newton family of Hungerford, being looked after by Scott Bunting and Adam Gerald.
A lovely example there of a small road engine. driven by a lovely example of a small Kiwi. But he's steering as he's driving, so obviously the regular crew are on strike at the moment. And that is a lovely engine, as is Britannia. Britannia is an agricultural engine which worked for Frank Stevens of Palgrave in Diss. Built in 1931 at Leyton. The boiler and many parts were made at Thetford, and it's spent its working life in Devon. Yeah, lovely engine, that one. I've often said as a special feature, perhaps we should do it here at Weeting. I'm sat with the rally coordinator. We should have a special gathering of last barrels. There's about half a dozen barrels that claim to be the last one. There's the last Showman's, the last road engine, the last agricultural built at Thetford, and the last agricultural built at Garrett's. Because of course when barrels packed up in 1928, the remainder of their order book and spares went to Garrett's to be built up in new engines. This is followed by St Brannock, another one of our Showman's type engines. This one here owned by the Milband family, been to Weeting a couple of times, driven by Tiffany Milband, steered by the lovely Niall Byrne. He looked very pleased with my description. So the engine has had a full restoration carried out by the owners in very smart condition. The bandies within earshot, just tell him that Jamie sat here looking at the Saunders collection trying to find his engine. It's only been attending Weeting since the first one. Costa, Lord of the Island, owned by the Whaling family, due to suckers at Loughborough for haulage of bricks. It saw service in Sholen. That's the sort of sentence they put in a programme to confound a commentator who's had a cider. It saw service in Sholen. Lots of people said it couldn't be done, said it could never be seen. But here we are, Victory is back in steam and has been now for a couple of years. We've had some restoration work carried out. And this is the first actual steam rally that Victory has attended since that work has been carried out. So we worked for the first family in Norwich. She was the first Norwich Phoenix to be ordered and built as such in June. So it's very special engine in a lot of ways. And driven today by Andrew Weeting, who is a trustee at Thurston, so it's partly his fault. But he said to me, who's wrong with
another engine we're very pleased to see back at Weeting this year, the Marshall engine Old Nick, built in 1908. The show new at the Royal County Show in Southampton, then on to Daniel Young of Whitney, Oxfordshire, whose place it now bears. The songs that John Allen and Son became part of the smashing team, with the fleet number 14, which it now shows on the back of the engine, which is fantastic. Gained registration numbers post-1921, and after some 30-odd years since John Allen modifications, Allen gave up all their smashing contracts and sold all the tackle in 1940. The engine then travelled via rails in Yorkshire, started new life on a straw bench in a local sawmill. There was fitted with a canopy, and after some 15 years and falling into disrepair, rescued by the late Ted Meadowcroft. Well, this particular engine
And this is followed by David Smith's 3-speed Burrell, Morning Glory. Those of you who've seen the Steve Neville Archive DVD might well recognise that engine. Okay, so this is the Blunt family's Clayton, lovely engine, formerly owned by Albert Deans of Baldock, driven by Stephen Blunt, steered by Elijah Joshua Josiah Bell, I remembered his name today, PhD, etc. Towing a bomb trolley with a rusty boiler on it, which allegedly is the central heating boiler out of Fengate Farmhouse. Matt is now riding on the trailer behind the proper engine. At least you can't make a trailer run out of steam.
Well, they're still coming, Michael. It's a very good turnout this afternoon.
Yeah, there's a few engines I didn't even know were here. I'm quite impressed.
But if you didn't, there's no hope for me at all.
New to H.A. Hosier in Wiltshire. And I'll remember that next year. Have you got
3,